Hey everyone, it's Leanne. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my July wrap-up. So my focus this month was to work on my Serious About Series challenge, where I try to catch up on or complete as many series as I can. This month I finished 6 series and I read 25 books. The first series that I completed was The Sleepover Friends by Susan Saunders. This month I read number 36, Presenting Patty, which I gave 3 stars. Number 37, Lauren Saves the Day, which I also gave 3 stars. And number 38, Patty's City Adventure, which I gave 4 stars, but that was more for the overall series. I did a separate video on the entire series and what I thought, so if you're interested in that, I will link that video in the description below. The next series I finished was a Southern Cake Baker mystery series by Mamie Bell. There are 2 books in the series. The first book in this series is Cake and Punishment. This is about a pastry chef named Sophia whose boyfriend recently broke up with her, cheated on her, so she decides to leave New York City and come back home to Kentucky for a visit. While there, she gets roped into making a cake for her old friend's wedding, and of course, a murder occurs. I gave this book 4 stars. Number 2 in this series is Batter Off Dead. In this one, Sophia is now living in Kentucky again, and she's opened her own business for Goodness Cakes. A big wig in the town winds up getting killed at a local fundraiser, and Sophia steps in to find out who the killer is. I gave this one 4 stars. The next series I caught up on was the Amish Candy Shop Mystery by Amanda Flower. In this series, Bailey King is a chocolatier who leaves New York to help her grandmother run her Amish candy shop in Harvest, Ohio, which is named Swissman Sweets. In book number 3, Premeditated Peppermint, her ex-boyfriend, Bailey's ex-boyfriend, is a celebrity chef, and he comes to the town to film an authentic Amish Christmas. While there, an executive producer on the show is killed. I gave this one 3 stars. Criminally Coco is book 3.5, and in this one, Bailey's Amish cousin, Charlotte Weaver, comes with her to film the show in New York City. Since Charlotte grew up Amish, the city is very foreign to her, as well as fascinating. I loved hearing stuff from her point of view. I gave this book 4 stars. Number 4 is Toxic Toffee. This takes place back in Ohio, where Easter is around the corner, but there's no shortage of murders taking place. But secrets run deep in this town, and Bailey has to help her sheriff boyfriend Aiden to solve the crime. I gave this book 4 stars. In Botched Butterscotch, book 4.5, we meet Bailey's parents who are visiting Harvest during Mother's Day. Someone steals money from a local women's group, and Bailey's trying to figure out who took the cash, while Aiden's mom, Juliet, conspires with Bailey's mom to plan their wedding for an engagement that hasn't happened. Juliet is super annoying. I gave this book 4 stars. Juliet plans her own wedding in book number 5, Marshmallow Malice, where she marries Reverend Brooke. And A Cozy Mystery wouldn't be complete if there wasn't a death at the ceremony. I gave this book 3 stars. Christmas is Coming to Harvest in Candy Cane Crime, book 5.5, and Bailey is busier than ever. Charlotte volunteers to be in charge of the candy cane exchange, and in the midst of the holiday season, discovers a secret admirer. I gave this book 4 stars. Bailey throws a baby shower for her assistant Emily in Lemon Drop Dead, book number 6. During the festivities, a mysterious woman arrives, claiming to know Emily's deepest secret. The mystery woman is later found dead, with a threatening letter on her from Emily's sister Esther. I gave this book 4 stars. The next series that I completed is The Heist Society by Allie Carter. This book was number 3.5, The Grift of the Magi. This novella is set over Christmas, and teenage thief Katerina Bishop and her world-renowned criminal family use their skills to help find out what happened to a very rare Fabergé egg that was stolen before it could make its way to a charity auction. I love this series. I really hope that it continues. I gave this book 5 stars. The next series that I completed was the main Clambake mystery series by Barbara Ross. In this series, we're following Julia Snowden and her family's business, the Snowden Family Clambake, and this takes place in Busman Harbor, Maine. In book number 3, Muscled Out, David, the Muscle King, is trying to set up a new location in the harbor, one that would surely put Julia's family out of business. I gave this book 4 stars. Autumn is settling in over Maine in Fogged In, book number 4, and Julia and her boyfriend Chris are working at the local diner. I gave this book 3 stars. Book number 5 is Iced Under, and this was a great story into Julia's family history and the mystery of a huge black diamond necklace that shows up for Julia's mother. I gave this book 4 stars. Summer has arrived and the Clambake business is back in full swing in Stowed Away, book number 6. A rival of Julia's shows up in town on a yacht with her billionaire boyfriend. I gave this book 4 stars. Steamed Open, book number 7, introduces us to the newest Busman Harbor resident who's inherited the house from his recently deceased relative. The townspeople don't like it when he blocks access to the beach, thus cutting off access to the Clambake supply. I gave this book 4 stars. It's early fall in Sealed Off, book number 8, and the Snowden family is busy with autumn tourists and renovations on the family's old mansion on Morrow Island. I gave this book 4 stars. In Shucked Apart, book number 9, a woman named Andy seeks out Julia's sleuthing skills to help her find out who robbed her 2 buckets of oyster seed worth $35,000. There are lots of people who wouldn't want Andy's oyster farm to be expanded, including the lobstermen of the area. I gave this book 3 stars. 1, because it was a shorter book, and 2, because it kind of left off on a cliffhanger. I was planning on finishing or catching up on this series. I actually only read 1 book in this series this time, and this was the Camper and Criminal series by Tanya Kappas. In book number 13, Gear, Girls, and Guns, we go back to Normal, Kentucky, where Mae West and the Laundry Club ladies continue to solve mysteries in and around Happy Trails Campground. This time, someone is trying to sabotage Mae and her new position on the National Park Committee. I gave this book 3 stars. Next up was the Killing Time with Cozies Book Club of the Month, and this was The Uninvited Corpse by Deborah Senefelder. This is the first book in the food blogger mystery series. It's a typical cozy that takes place in Connecticut, and the main character is Hope, who's a food blogger. I'm going to leave the link to the live show in the description box below, because in the show, everybody goes into the book in much more detail. The last book I read for the month was also the last series I've completed for the month, and this was Troubles in Paradise by Ellen Hildebrand. This was the 3rd book in the Paradise trilogy. I really can't say much about this book without giving away spoilers, so I'm going to say it takes place on St. John in the Caribbean and revolves around Irene and her 2 sons, Cash and Baker. I love this series. I was sad to see it come to an end. I gave it 5 stars. I completely forgot another book that I read. This was The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This is a book about a girl named Emma who, at a fancy summer camp when she was younger, watched her roommates leave and they were never seen again. Now it's many, many years later. She's an artist and she's been invited back to that camp to spend like a week there with some new people as well as a few other people from back then. And while she's there, things start seeming a little suspicious and people are looking at her a little weird, and she realizes that to make peace with herself, she has to figure out what happened back then. I love this book. I gave this book 5 stars. So that's it. Those are the books I read for July. I'm really happy with the progress that I made, just both in the books I read and my Serious About Series challenge. Next month is not going to be quite as large. I am doing books over 500 pages, so I don't expect to get much done. We'll see how far that goes. We'll see. If you've read any of these books or are interested in any of these books, please comment down below. Let me know what you think. I'd love to discuss them with you. And until next time, I'll see ya.